Hey guys, welcome back to the Out Jeeping YouTube channel. My name's Austin, and as you guys just saw, we have a bent power steering pulley on this 78 Jeep J10 truck. Now I think it has a lot to do with the engine vibration that this Jeep undergoes, so today I'm going to show you guys how to replace it with a brand new one. So let's get started. Alright, so this is all we primarily need to replace the old pulley today. We got our new pulley right here, and we have a power steering pump pulley service set. Now this is going to help us pull off our old pulley as well as install our new one. Now I bought this kit off Amazon, and with the Aries brand, I've had really good luck with them in the past for specialty tools, and it's only around 35 bucks, but you don't have to buy it. You can always rent these special tools at your local auto parts store. Just put a deposit down and then you can return it. Now this is the pulley that we're going to be replacing today on my Jeep 360 V8. It is a double groove pulley. Now from the factory, the belt routing on this, it had one belt coming up from the crank and water pump, and it had another belt coming off of this going to an air pump, which is for emissions, and all that emission stuff has been deleted previously on this Jeep. So the way I have it set up right now on the Jeep is I have two belts driving this from the crank and water pump. So I figure I go with the double grooves, that way I don't have any possible chance of the belt slipping. Now this is a press fit, hence we got the puller, so we're going to go over to the Jeep and start taking off some belts and get this puller all set up so that way we can remove the old pulley. Alright, so looking underneath at the engine bay here, we got a power steering pump, and it's located on the upper driver's end of the vehicle. And we got two belts going to it, like I said before. And first thing we got to do is remove the tension on the belts, so that way we can get the belts out of the way. And the way that this is tension is we got two 9/16 nuts on the back of the power steering pump. We're going to crack those free, and then this whole power steering pump should be able to rotate on this bracket, and then we should be able to take off these belts. So I'm going to do that right now. Might be a little bit hard to get at, but you have to crack them free. Alright, so I got those two nuts broken free, and on the nut that's closest to the valve cover, do not put a ratchet back there to try and loosen it, otherwise that ratchet's going to be stuck in there for a long time. It took me a good 20 minutes trying to fish that thing back out of there, had to retighten it and just use a wrench. But now that we got it free, as you can see, our power steering pump pivots on its axis over here, so we can take our belts and slide them off. And I'm just going to let them hang down there for now. And you can see how out of round this pulley is. I don't know how this got bent, but we need to replace it. So I got some penetrating fluid here, and I'm going to spray it right over here on the shaft. This inner part right here is part of the power steering pump, and it's threaded on the inside. That's what our puller is going to thread into, is the inside of the shaft. But you can see where it mates right here. So I'm going to see if I can help it break it free with some penetrating fluid. And I'll put a little bit on the back. Alright, we'll let that soak as we get our puller all set up. Alright, let's pop this guy open and see what we got. Alright, so first, taking off the old puller, we're going to need these tools over here. So we got our main puller shaft, and we also have this C-clamp design right here. And it has a little sleeve that's going to go over it, so that way these guys don't pop out. So the way that this is going to work, we got the two clamshells. They're going to go over half of this. So one side is going to go over there, and then the other side is going to capture the outer sleeve of the pulley. And then as we tighten this up, this pin is going to go directly onto the shaft of the power steering pump. We're going to tighten this up, and then it's going to pull the pulley off of the shaft. So let's get this set up. Now with our clamshell pieces right here, the side that has the smaller radius, we're going to have that facing towards the power steering pump. Now what I'm actually going to do is swap the shaft over here with this one. This one has a longer rod that's going to go through the shaft of the power steering pump, and it's going to go through that threaded portion all the way to the back, and that's going to give us a little bit extra room here for pulling this off. So we're not going to be able to use this part for this power steering pump. We're going to test our depth, get it close. Now we'll put our clamshells on. And then we'll take our sheet metal sleeve, and that's going to go over this to keep those clamshells into place. Alright, so now we're going to tighten this up, and it's going to extract that pulley off of the power steering shaft. And we're going to hold this one into place right here. This is going to be a 13/16. I don't have that wrench, so I'm just going to use the adjustable wrench on here. We're going to hold it into place over here, and then we're going to take a 5/8 wrench on the end of the shaft over here and start tightening that up, and hopefully it should pop free. Sounds like it's coming off. Fortunately, you can't get a ratchet on here because it's so close to the radiator. Alright, there we go. Just popped off the shaft. I'll take our puller off. Actually, it can come out as one piece, and there we go. Alright, so now we're ready to install our new pulley onto the power steering pump. Now, if you guys caught it from earlier, the new pulley that I got is actually the wrong one. So it is about a week later. I ended up having to return that. And Rock Auto said it fit this J10 through all the years pretty much, and they didn't offer the correct pulley. So it was actually kind of hard to hunt down a correct one. The only place I could find it brand new was actually on bjsoffroad.com, and they wanted 70 bucks for a new one. So I went on eBay and was able to find one, the exact kind, for around 40 bucks. It is used, but hopefully it should be nice and straight. A little bit of rust in the grooves here, so I may end up sandblasting and repainting this later on. But for today's video purpose, we're going to install this onto the Jeep and put everything back together. Now, looking at our puller kit, what we need to do for installing the new one is to take our installation adapter, and that's what this plunger is right here. They got a couple bolts that thread into there, and the one that we're going to need that threads into the shaft of our power steering pump is this big one right here. So we're going to swap out this bolt, and this is going to thread nicely in there. And then we'll get this lined up on the Jeep and get it ready for installation. Alright, so for installing this, I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on here to help kind of guide it in. That way nothing binds up really weird. So I'm just going to take a little bit of oil off the dipstick. That should be plenty. Now I'll line this up on here. Now I'll thread in our installation tool, and we want to thread it into the center shaft of the power steering pump first, and then we'll tighten up the plunger. So now that we got that plunger tightened up, we're going to take a 9/16 wrench and hold it on the main bolt over here on the end, and then we'll tighten up this nut over here on the plunger, and that's going to be 11/16. So we'll hold that in place as we tighten this up, and then it should draw that all the way onto the shaft. Alright, so once you feel it gets solid, that's pretty much as far as it's going to go, and then we can loosen up our tool over here. And then we can remove this from the power steering pump. Alright, look at that. You can already tell that's nice and centric, unlike the last pulley where it's wobbling around. So now we're going to take our belt and reroute it back on here, and then all we got to do is tighten up the power steering pump back onto its brackets, and then we're pretty much done. Now I'll rotate the power steering pump, hold it nice and tight, and tighten up these two nuts in the back. Alright, so the power steering pump's all tightened up, and these belts are nice and tight over here, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now I would start this up to show you guys there's no more wobbling, but I got some other projects going on, so unfortunately I can't start it right now. But that's pretty much it for replacing the power steer pump pulley. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Hopefully you guys learned something on how to replace a power steering pump pulley. It's pretty generic among many GM power steering pumps, so hopefully you guys can follow along. As always, I'll post a link in the description below so you guys can find that tool I used to remove and install the new power steering pump pulley. So if you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the Out Jeeping YouTube channel. We got some really cool things coming for the J10 as well as the Jeep Cherokee build, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure to post them below. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.